Well, we made it. It's the season finale of What If, and we're going to talk about it, break it down, break it up, bust it up. We're just going to have a good time geeking out about What If on your safe place to geek out. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the mashup of Chewy's Cantina over on Facebook, one of the best toy groups on Facebook, and Geek Out Loud, your safe place to geek out. My name is Steve Glosson. So glad to be along with you, and let's just get right into it. Along with me, of course, is the founder and the foundation, if you will, of Chewy's Cantina himself. He is known to me before I ever met him as Lethargic Chewy, and it's kind of stuck. Ladies and gentlemen, Lucas Butler, how's it going, my friend?
Greetings from the multiverse, buddies.
You've been
good to be back with you.
You've been rocking some toy shopping lately.
I have. I've been having some fun. Some things have become available. Got some wonderful What If characters. Got the zombie Cap, the zombie hunter, Spider-Man, Captain Carter. So pretty stoked about that. So
dude, that is really cool. And
Captain Carter, she's beautiful. Those that are joining us, check that out.
Now my wife calls her Beefy Peggy.
Beefy, she looked it when she stepped out of that thing. She put some poundage on, but she was strong. She's stronger than Amazon. So
really excited to talk about some stuff with her tonight. But before we get on to all of that, also with us, he was a hit last week, and he's bringing all the knowledge. If you want to know about the levels of gods and demigods in the Marvel Universe, this is the man to ask. All the way out from Oklahoma, Justin Grant. How's it go? Tintin, to those of you from the Mixler Zoo crew. How's it going, buddy?
It's going great. Viva Las Vegas. I'm very happy to be here.
Viva Las Vegas.
Nice.
That is awesome. And of course, you know him, you love him. He is a noted Star Wars and Marvel author with works such as Absolutely Everything You Need to Know About Marvel, Absolutely Everything You Need to Know About Star Wars, the Marvel Encyclopedia, Marvel MCU 101, Marvel Studios Visual Encyclopedia, all kinds of fun stuff. Also, back in the day, did some travel guides and such as. Ladies and gentlemen, it's author Adam Bray.
Hey, it's 3 pounds fatter than last week, Adam, and I brought my multiverse beard in honor of all this What If stuff.
You sound like my wife now. I put on 3 pounds.
Oh,
3 pounds here, 4 pounds there.
I check every day, most days, but the problem is this last week I've gotten out of my routine and I haven't been checking, so I haven't moderating my intake and outtake each day, so it gets ahead of me.
Right. Well, you know what? It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle, Adam. And I say that as someone who is where you once were. And and haven't really chosen that lifestyle like I should. And I recognize it's a personal weakness on my part. So here we are, guys. It is the season finale of What If, and there's some interesting things that I want to go ahead and get out of the way right out of the gate. You know, last week we were talking about, or you guys were talking about, you guys were really worried about it more than I was. Where's Gamora? Where's Gamora? And here was Gamora here in this episode, along with Tony Stark, in what appeared to be some type of Hulkbuster style armor. And basically the question becomes, why didn't we see an episode with them? And apparently that episode got pushed back due to COVID. I don't know if the animated characters tested positive and they had to put a halt to filming. I really don't know, but that's kind of the word on the street. The word in the ether is that it was pushed back because of COVID, and it's going to be part of season 2. And apparently it'll feature Tony. Spoiler alert, everybody! It'll feature Tony instead of getting out of the wormhole in the first Avengers, getting taken to Sakaar, where he'll have to fight in the arena and stuff. So
that's fun.
And so his armor ends up being something he threw together on an alien world. So that's what I've seen and understand. Unfortunately, we didn't get to spend a lot of time then with him and Gamora, but there is that cool Lego set if you want to.
Yeah, we previewed that last week.
If you want to make your own adventure, so it's out there. I've seen it on the shelf at our Walmart.
You saw it too? Okay, great.
Yeah. So it's there. But let's get into this thing. Justin, you came right out of the gate with Viva Las Vegas. I think what was really neat right out of the gate on this particular episode, Lucas, just to go back to Beefy Peggy real quick, is the way that it opened up very similar. I mean, really almost beat for beat for the conversation they were having in the Quinjet in Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
As they were headed to their mission at the opening part of Winter Soldier. Did you catch all that? Did you recognize that was what?
Yeah. So I saw it, and then I was like, I've been here before. Same characters except for the captain. So even the whole comment about what is it, Bernard over in accounting?
Bernard from accounting.
But I think it was something in logistics, some girl in logistics for Captain America and the other. So but yeah, that was really cool. I mean, just to see again, just the nod to the universe that we know. And then for her to dive off in that. I wish they would have had a few more of those comments like, did she jump without a parachute like they did for Cap in the
I thought Rimlo might hit that up, but he did not. So but I guess, Adam, my question for you then would be, what's wrong with Bernard in accounting, do you think?
I don't know, but I'm very distracted by your absorbing man there. Did you finish him?
I've got a friend on Instagram, Life with Brock, that was getting rid of one, and so I was able to get him, and so I'm trying to get him posed up just right for a little something later on.
Is that the Build-A-Figure one?
This is the Build-A-Figure one.
Awesome. That is cool.
I don't have his wrecking ball, and and so I've got to, but I actually have the means. I was given the means to make my own wrecking ball for him, but me, I'm kind of a completist, and so I got to get the real one to see if I can make something that's custom and better. So anyhow, so Bernard in accounting is not who we want to go with. Well, as Peggy is fighting there on the Lemurian star, there in that the Watcher shows up, and just a nitpicky little thing here, she could see him, Justin, but could Batroc see him? Are we led to believe that she's the only one that saw the Watcher there?
I believe we are led to believe that she is the only one that saw Batroc. And so being a comic book guy, every time, correct me on this, in the MCU, is he typically just referred to, and I've seen the movies, but is he typically just referred to as Batroc? And that's like end of sentence?
Is my French not working out? It's Batroc.
No.
I've always just said Batroc the Leaper.
No, I've always said Batroc the Leaper to me, because that's like his whole title. And it just, for me, stopping at Batroc is kind of like saying LMN, not O. LMNO always goes together.
Right.
I learned that from Elmo. So I'm not saying Batroc the Leaper is so.
This is a Sesame Street version of What If.
I'm the same way. Like, I still refer to him as Batroc the Leaper. Like, I just can't leave off the Leaper because that's who he was in the comics. But yeah, so I kind of got the same thing, Justin. I felt like, that only the ones that were chosen could see the Watcher. And so when he gets her, I mean, we're off to the races. We see him go after pretty much everyone else in pretty quick succession, with a couple of with one or two exceptions. And I want to talk about this one aspect. Obviously, Lucas, the Thor bit was hilarious.
Yeah.
I washed my hair and I was going to take a bath, and all
these guys are coming at him. Yeah.
He's like, have at you and you. And then the
Watcher's trying to talk to him.
Right. And then the yelling as the Watcher picks him up, and it's almost a replay of Thor Ragnarok where he's screaming going through the Willy Wonka tunnel. But Lucas, why in the world, why go after Killmonger?
He talked about how he brought all of them together, all their skill sets, all their strengths, and just maybe his ability, his stealthness, if you will. But at the same time, I know we'll dig into this, but Doctor Strange makes the comment, okay, to the Watcher, you knew that this was what was gonna happen. You knew that the whole goal of it was not so much to destroy him, but to separate them.
Right.
So then, with that being said, he knows, okay, if I've got a wild card, Killmonger, in the midst of this, he's going to be power hungry. He's going to want those stones for himself. So therefore, he's entered into the equation to possibly create some tension in which may be able to bring the remedy that he's looking for. And it is interesting as we, just think about Killmonger for a moment. I'm sure you guys caught it. When he goes to beckon him and call him, of course, Pepper and Zuri are about to break in and take it to him. And if you look in that throne room, man, it is already a mess. I mean, he's already wreaked havoc on Wakanda. So he's already enemy number one there, if you will. And now he gets zapped to be a guardian of the multiverse. So, but yeah, I think he was brought into it for the Watcher's purposes. He had some strengths to add to the team, but also ultimately his betrayal was going to play a part of the ultimate plan. So, I can't help but jump to some biblical things there, but that's just, it is what it is. So
I can't help but get into some theology that may be divisive even amongst the most devout of us all.
I wasn't going there.
Justin, Adam, I'll just go with you guys too. Is this a deal where the Watcher knew what was coming? He understood what was, and that's why he picked Killmonger to end up locked in conflict eternally with Ultron, as it were? Is this a Watcher foresight kind of thing, or was Watcher, or is it just a matter of, well, we saw an episode with this guy, so he's got to be in here?
Can we do all of the above?
Sure. Yeah.
He's got to finish out the loop by coming in this episode. But yeah, I think the Watcher was doing that, that world, that Earth, and that universe a favor by pulling him out.
Oh, sure.
And I think as Dr. Strange said, we something like we were never meant to succeed or something like that. Mm-hmm. So Dr. Strange realized at the end that this is supposed to play out like this. So yeah, I think the Watcher foresaw this, and he's not. Killmonger was not a good guy, so of course he's not going to pull for the team in the end.
I guess so. I'm sitting there the whole time scratching my head thinking, like, there had to be a better way than include this guy. And that's just me, that's just kind of my proclivities as a superhero fan and everything else. I'm not a fan of trying to bring in the villains, and I was afraid they were going to redeem him. I guess I'm glad they didn't. I should say, because that's one thing I don't like necessarily, is when someone who has not earned a redemption arc just suddenly gets one.
That doesn't happen. Name one time.
Name one time. A Magneto,
guys.
Lex Luthor, Kylo Ren. Yeah, you just we'll go down all those paths together.
Right.
You're really taking a Jonah posture here, buddy. Just so you know.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's true. That's true. I knew this would happen. That's why I didn't want him to go. So I'm just glad he didn't get it. It is a weird fate, and it's almost a Twilight Zone-ish type fate for him. I kept expecting maybe a sad ending because of that that Twilight Zone type nature of all things What If. But obviously they gave us a good wins over evil ultimately there, Justin, and that's the way I think superhero stories should be told, to be honest with you.
I couldn't agree more. When it comes to Killmonger, from my experience with him, is he's really focused on the Black Panther side. So of course that's why we're here. I would have to say though, if you look at his history in the comic books, he is always the guy who is trying to get the throne of Wakanda. He is always trying to be the antagonist to Black Panther. He's always there just trying to get the title. And it makes me wonder with where the MCU is going with replacing Chadwick Boseman. Is maybe that just going to be a continuing theme moving forward? At least we can carry on with Killmonger moving forward as an antagonist.
Is Killmonger not dead?
He's dead in the MCU.
Is he dead? Okay. Sorry, not in my stories.
Well, who knows, really, honestly, what's going on?
Yeah. Right. But yeah, well, it makes me think one of the reasons they might have included him in this is because they kept on killing Tony Stark off, and I think that's the reason he killed Tony Stark in the What If. He was trying to go after, the title or the next big thing. So
right. Well, and that brings me to this idea of Tony dying every time we see him necessarily in a universe. He's kind of died rather quickly, or he's been dispatched. And that has sparked all kinds of fan conversation online, Adam, about the importance of Tony Stark in the Marvel universe proper, and how he obviously, if he's not there, then it apparently all falls apart. Do you buy that, or do you think that that's just people kind of overemphasizing Tony's role?
I hadn't really thought about it. I
hadn't either until I heard people say it. That's just, again, like you just start to kind of dabble in the fandom, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, this just hit me. Tony dies in every version, and every version is so messed up. If Tony dies, and that means the world ends because everything rises and falls on Iron Man. Is that just fan overhyping a situation, or do you think there's some legitimacy to that kind of theory and that mindset?
It's probably fans overhyping it. I mean, it's an interesting observation, but my thought is they'd only want things to hinge on him in our, the 616 universe proper. The writers clearly want unique things happening in each of these. So I don't know if there's any overarching theme that really exists in every universe.
Yeah. Justin, as the comic book guy here, the total comic book guy, is it as weird for you as it is for me that people tend to really make a big deal about Tony Stark and Iron Man? Because in my mind, though he's always been there in the Marvel universe, I mean, dude is not A-lister necessarily for the longest time until 2008, until the movies.
Just a insight to my background with comic books. Like we discussed, my background in comic books was I didn't grow up with a comic book store. It was always 7-Eleven, the grocery store. So
right,
we've discussed this. So the first time I ever heard you, Steve, call Iron Man like a C-lister, I was like, that can't be possible, because that's one of the ones I buy every time I'm at 7-Eleven.
Right.
And so I actually went to a comic book store owner after hearing you say it. I'm like, do you consider Iron Man a C-lister? And he's like, well, back in the 80s.
Yeah.
The reason he was at 7-Eleven is because he wasn't selling at the comic book store.
Right.
So I actually have asked that to other people since I heard you say that. And I've always considered him an A-lister.
Yeah.
But that's just because I grew up in kind of rural Oklahoma, and Iron Man was, like you say, was not a household name. So I guess to answer your question, I understand that he's not an A-lister for the average MCU fan.
Right. Right. That, I guess that's my thing, is like, I'm just so shocked to hear people say this, because, I look, Iron Man is, when you get into the comics of it all, he is a foundational character. He's a founding member of the Avengers. He was very key in the Avengers forming and staying together through years, because he gave them their base of operations, Avengers Mansion, and basically funded them and everything. But as time kind of rolled on, it's almost like they didn't know what to do with him. And when you think about classic Iron Man arcs, everyone references Demon in a Bottle. But Demon in a Bottle wasn't necessarily like this huge story. It was just kind of a few issues of him dealing with his alcoholism and the fallout of all that. And then you have Armor Wars, which is kind of a big deal, because you kind of dip into Justin Hammer territory and that sort of thing. But ultimately, like, on his own, like, he went through some weird stuff. And then to be basically the reason that the Marvel universe and the comics fell apart because of Civil War, like, he's just not that, he's really not that great of an impressive character in the comics until 2008 comes along. And they find the key to make Iron Man likable and make everyone love him. And so, I don't know. Adam, I agree with you. I kind of set you up to have an either or question. I'm sure there's more to it than just either fans being overhyping as they do, or having a legit. I'm sure there's a middle ground there. But I wonder, Lucas, if the writers see Tony as being that important and that vital in all these multiverses.
I think there's two things to notice, what we've seen kind of unfold with the What If, and you guys helped me in the Doctor Strange episode. He kept trying to go back and to rescue, his girlfriend, and he couldn't, because it was called what, absolute point or something like that,
a nexus point,
or some kind of point where it couldn't be disturbed. I'm wondering. I mean, granted, we don't know about the Gamora story. We just saw whatever. But in each one of the multiverses, we see Tony die. He always dies. He always dies. And even when the Watcher comes to get Gamora, and again, we don't know a lot about that story, but he makes it a point, not you, Stark.
Right.
So it's almost like they're intentional, saying we are breaking ties with continuing the Tony Stark character in the next phase of the MCU.
That may be you may be very correct on that, as far as just, I guess there's not very correct, there's correct, or very insightful, I should say, because it does seem like something that the writers and storytellers would do to wean fans off of that, because you look at what's coming down the pike for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the characters that we know from that first Infinity War saga, we still have Doctor Strange and Spider-Man around. Wanda's out there somewhere. Vision is out there somewhere. Thor is still out there with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but no Captain America, as far as Steve Rogers goes. No Steve Rogers, no Tony Stark, and the movies that they've had, thus far, they've had let's see, since Endgame, there was Far From Home, which is, kind of the wrap up of everything with that phase and that whole part of the things. But so since then, because of COVID, of course, we've had only Black Widow, and that was kind of like, let us fill in the gaps here, let us color in some space for you. But then everything else has been, look, if Iron Man was a C-list character back in the day, comic book wise, Shang-Chi is C plus list, like or C minus list, like he is almost a D list character. And they've tried to do more with him. And I'm not saying he's a bad character. I'm not saying he's a boring character, but I'm saying that as far as Marvel characters go, we're scraping now, it seems like, especially, and even with the Eternals. And I know the Eternals have a weird, rich history about them. And the truth of the matter is, when it comes to the Eternals, the only thing I ever liked about the Eternals, they had this Hulk robot. And outside of that, it's like, to try to read them, you've got to be ready to, slodge through some stuff, because they're a little boring. Some of that original Eternal stuff is a little boring. Like, Jack Kirby didn't quite hit New Gods level when he brought the Eternals into the Marvel Universe. And so I'm saying, like, as you look and see what's coming, man, it's like we got to get to Doctor Strange because everything else is still very basement level characters. As good as Shang-Chi was, and I really did enjoy that movie a lot. Yeah. I thought it was very unique and special and fun and good. But you know, there's just with the passing of Chadwick Boseman, unfortunately, and apparently they're not going to try to push forward with the character. And I think that's a mistake. I think that these characters, as they are, have to be bigger than the actors who played them. And I understand not wanting anyone but Chadwick Boseman to ever play the Black Panther, but at the same time, there's more to that character than the one or two stories we've seen him in. We, you know, and from a storytelling standpoint, I'm sorry, I don't think that Shuri's going to cut it. She's, you know, I feel like you've got to find someone to try to fill those shoes, just like the James Bond franchise back in the day. You know, that the whole thing was, well, who's the next James Bond? This is anyhow. I'm rambling on here to say this, that with what's coming, yeah, Lucas, I think you're right. I think that there has to be the mentality from fans that, yeah, Tony's not coming back, because I don't think they have any eyes on bringing Tony Stark back, especially not Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark, because Robert Downey Jr. I don't think has any plans to ever return to that role necessarily. I think he's ready to move on. Not that he's bitter about it or upset about it, but I think that, you know, and who knows, we may get teenage Tony Stark at some point like we did in the 90s. You know, you never know, but that's a little wild.
From the comic perspective, you guys, is there, you know, just like Cap has these other folks that took up the mantle, is there anybody that ever jumps in the suit and takes over?
Yeah, Rhodey was Iron Man. Like, he was Iron Man. Like, he wasn't just War Machine, he was Iron Man. And then in recent years, and this is what they're really going to try to do, is they want to get Ironheart in there. They want to get Riri Williams shoved down our throats. Just like they've done in the comics recently. And I say shoved down our throats, and I mean that with all due respect, that a lot of what they've done with some of these characters is comic book wise just been like, you're going to take this and you're going to like it, and if you don't like it, then you're a problem. I mean, that's kind of been what it is. The thing with Riri Williams is she didn't earn her spot. Like, her character, like, she's just not well written. I'm sorry. And so, you know,
how do you feel about it, Steve? How do you feel about it?
Well, I don't know. I might be a little too tired and irritated today to be doing this. But
are you mad that you had to buy her action figure to finish that bear?
I didn't have to buy her action figure. I was able to just get the leg. I was able to just get the leg, and so
he paid $30 just for the leg. So
I did not pay $30 for the leg. I would not do that. I would go ahead and buy the figure if that were the case. But what I was mad about is the dude who said it was the right leg on eBay. I get it, and it's the left leg, which I already had. So I had to do this whole eBay return, but then I found another one, and so yeah, sure enough, we got Ursa Major.
There he is. Big Bear,
chase me. That's a great outdoors reference, everybody. Anyway, I'm sorry, guys. We got way off kilter there just talking about Tony Stark. Let's get back into this episode proper, because, I mean, Tony Stark's in it for all of 30 seconds. And I do think it's funny that he says not you, Stark, in the same way that in Iron Man 2, basically, Fury says, you know, we like you as a consultant, but we, you know, at this time, we don't need you. So they all get together. The plan, you know, I love it when a plan comes together. I guess we should talk about the fact that in Space Lord T'Challa's world, you know, Ego finds Peter. Of course, we saw it at the end of that one episode. You know, he finds Peter there at Dairy Queen. And
mopping up.
Yeah, and so now he's getting mopped up with as Ego's, you know, bringing all that big blue goo to life and everything. And it's, you know, the possibilities there are endless. I would love to see a grown-up Peter Quill who's lived his life as a total slacker get taken into space with the Guardians of the Galaxy and have to, you know, learn how to make his way as an adult. I think that is with T'Challa, you know, teaching him the ropes, showing him the ropes. I think that is I think that's comedy gold. I think that is space buddy cop like at its best. I think
that's season 2. That's season 2. I bet.
Maybe you never know.
I mean, you get that image at the end with them firing the blaster thing together.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And Gamora was in Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's not forget all that. Who were missing that episode now? So
that's right. Yep. So anyway, as we roll on here and keep going into this episode, once they get together, plan comes together, we find out they have I guess in my mind, Tony put it together in that universe with Gamora, the Infinity Stone grinder, basically. What do they call it? The Infinity Smasher,
Crusher,
Crusher. Infinity Crusher. That's right. Which doesn't work, Lucas. I don't like. That's one of those things. I'm like, okay. Is this just storytelling rules where it's like, fine, the Infinity Stones can work across the universes, unlike they do in the Time Variance Authority, but they're just different enough that this Crusher can't crush them.
That was, again, I know we talked about it last time when it didn't really destroy them. I was like, oh, here we are again. This whole, it's barely unique in this multiverse, whatever. I mean, but then we again go back to Loki, where we've got a drawer full of them. They're used as paperweights. I mean, I don't know. It's a frustrating point. That's the only thing. The really downside, that and the Gamora issue, that kind of strikes against this episode for me. I just wish the
Gamora issue is having not met her before now. Is that
it would have been neat to see all it play out. And granted, I think we get all the information we need from this episode about her, for her to be. But I would have liked to have seen how she beat Thanos, how she survives Zakara. I mean, all those things. Why she was melting down the gauntlet, obviously, because she beat Thanos. And I would have liked to have seen her destroy the Infinity. I mean, all those things, which I guess we'll see next season. But now we kind of know what's going to happen. But
right, or or they may just say, I think I guess I don't know. There's a lot with that episode that I'm like, why is it not out there? What about COVID prevented you from doing it? Is there some voice work that needs to be picked up? Is there animation that didn't get finished? That seems like, it all seems unlikely. Like, to me, that's not a good excuse for an animated 30-minute when everything else got finished. It doesn't make sense that didn't get finished.
Yeah,
it's just strange to me. So, but anyway,
maybe Gamora didn't get vaccinated.
Well, exactly. So she's probably fired. Adam, the Infinity Crusher not working in this universe, is it just a writing trope to keep us moving forward, or is it a plot hole that we'll never have filled in for us? What is it? Just easy writing? Is it lazy writing?
Can I select all of the above?
Sure. Yeah.
I will say I did like the gadget. Like when it got up and it walked over to Ultron and it started chewing at his chest and it did all that. I thought that was really cool. Like, I want a little action figure of that, and I want it fully articulated. I want to see what else that thing does.
Right.
That was kind of cool. It was like ancient and modern looking at the same time. It was a neat little gadget. I want to explore that more.
Well, and the truth is that even if those Infinity Stones are destroyed, and I was kind of thinking of this as it was happening, Justin, Ultron is still going to be a force to be reckoned with if he's in that vibranium body of Vision and everything. And, unless destroying the Soul Stone ruins him the way it did Vision, but I don't think it would. I think that you've still got,
who knows?
Vision was a whole different thing than Ultron was. And Ultron was already sentient and everything else when that body was being made. The Soul Stone was just going to kind of give him an extra oomph. And so, there was still, if they destroy the Soul Stone, or I keep saying just the Soul Stones because that's the one they were going after apparently, which there's a why. Like, they decided the Soul Stone. Why the Soul Stone all of a sudden? I'm talking too much. Lucas, I'm going to take over for a minute and after Justin finishes.
Okay, I'll do it. Go ahead, Justin.
Okay, I apologize. The Soul Stone was the linchpin kind of stone, and I think it was the first stone in the comic books. Going back to Adam Warlock, who Adam Warlock was created by, again, I can't remember the race's name. The ones that in the MCU, they're all in gold. They've had a couple of appearances now. He was created by that race of aliens, and at the time, and they just called him. capital H, capital I, capital M. He didn't, what's it called, Adam Warlock. And he was created to counter kind of the Thanos issues that were going on in the universe. But one thing that Soul Stone, once Adam Warlock obtained it, was it communicated him. It actually said, I'm not the only one. I'm part of a group of, I think at the time it was 5. They might have said 6, but I think it said I'm part of a group of 5. So it was the first and kind of the linchpin in the comic books. The neat thing about the Soul Stone, and I don't want to get too far ahead in the show, unless you say to, but
I think it's open.
Go ahead. Yeah.
We're talking about the end right now.
The Soul Stone, Adam Warlock did an excellent, in the comics, did an excellent job, Marvel, and did an excellent job of showing how the Soul Stone can create pocket universes, pocket dimensions. And that's not calling them universes, because that's another conversation where I can't explain it. But these little pocket dimensions, the Soul Stone and pocket dimensions are definitely linked in the Marvel universe. So remember that when it comes to, again, going to the multiverse of madness and all these other verses we're getting into, I really, again, think that they're going to lean into these pocket dimensions. Some of these gods and demigods that you see Strange thrown about, again, are dimension rulers to the point where they are the dimension itself. I know that's confusing, but there's a lot of dimensions that are not quote unquote universes in Marvel, and the Soul Stone is definitely linked to creating those, or some of those, and using them also as prisons, which we saw in this episode, it seems. So
yeah, and one of the other questions I have with the Infinity Stone, so obviously you can have multiples of the same kind exist in the same universe, because you got Doctor Strange has got the Time Stone, but so does Ultron, from his own. So, there's, I guess, some whole new rules. What, you got anything on that one, Justin? Or
yeah, and this is not me being a comic book guy. This is me being, a sleuth of the internet. Yeah. Evidently, one of the writers of What If came out and said that the stones in this What episode, and I do not know if this is going to, oh, heaven forbid, they actually make this in the, canon in the comics, because then I'll have to relearn everything. But the stones in this universe do not contain their exact power in another universe. They do not have the ability to be like the Strength Stone, the Power Stone, and whatnot. They don't have their power, but they can increase a person's power itself. And it's a convoluted answer he gave. So that's kind of what they're saying, why Ultron had some abilities, but not all of the abilities that the stones normally would have in this other universe. Because if you think about the way the stones work, just Thanos can wipe out half of the universe with a snap. So at any time, if those stones were at full power, I guess that's a good way to say it, kind of paraphrasing what this writer said. If at any time they were full power, he could have just snapped these battles and been done with it. But since he wasn't channeling their power, they were still powering him. It's a convoluted answer. I don't buy it. Storytelling device. So that's kind of where I'm at. But that was their explanation for it.
Yeah, I think the stones have left more questions than answers for what we've seen in this series.
Well, I think, I do think, look, you've got to give, anytime you're in a storytelling situation like this, you've got to give writers a certain level of grace to just make certain decisions and make certain calls and not have to explain every little thing away. If they're glaring things like two stones in the same reality, if they're, then they do need to kind of have an explanation in their back pocket that doesn't get as convoluted or as messed up. Now, I'm not a professional writer. I'm just telling you as a fan that's kind of my feeling on the situation. It's an interesting thing to see all that, because when he actually is shooting out a tentacle, right? When his stone opens up, and Doctor Strange I'm talking about, like, in that, so it seems like there's something powering up, like I thought, to me it was like, oh, his stone recognizes the power that's being used by that other stone at this time. Like, I thought it was kind of almost like a recognition kind of thing, which I know is weird.
Are you referring to when he shot out like a tentacle, like the Shumagorath tentacle, or like a power tentacle?
The Shumagorath tentacle, didn't that happen?
Okay, yeah, but that wasn't linked to the stone I mean, it was linked to the stone, but that was actually Doctor Strange has the ability to consume power.
Right.
So he
okay, but
not linked to the stones. He was channeling the Shumagorath that he had consumed inside his, I guess you'd say, inside his own pocket dimension.
Yeah, I get that. What I'm saying though is when he first does that, it's when Ultron is using the time stone. And so once he because Ultron's going to grab the soul stone, everyone else is kind of locked in this time bubble. Outside of the time bubble, Doctor Strange shoots out the tentacle, and you see his little thing, right? And so I'm wondering if it's just like that thing. Once he touched that power, that got in that bubble of power, that thing recognized,
and he's able to supersede that time.
Yeah. It's you know what, it's a little moment in time that's not worth sitting around and waiting.
Right.
And I said I was going to let Lucas run it for a little bit because we've just been.
Well, here's the thing, and something that Justin just said about Doctor Strange, consuming or absorbing power. There's two things that I noticed and kind of get you guys feedback. Early on, when he's first meeting the rest of the Guardians of the Multiverse, he has that little flare up where it just kind of comes alive on him and he has to rein it back in. So is it, just right there under the surface, he's trying to keep it in check. But then too, when Ultron does this, looks like he's fixing to blow up the planet, he grabs it and he just pops it in his mouth.
That's right. Yes.
So he definitely consumes power, man. I was like, all right, we see who we're dealing with here. All right.
Well, you remember earlier when I was talking about all these little pocket dimensions?
Yeah.
They're notorious for failing. So when they're used as a prison, they're notorious for people getting out. Or a remnant of them getting out. So
season 2.
that very well could be.
Yeah, but he consumed that whole explosion. Like there is the moment Ultron grows real big and he's going to blow up the whole world, and then Doctor Strange is kind of like, you think it's all over, and Strange is like having lunch. But I'll tell you, the other part is there gets to be that point, and there's a couple more things that are going on here. Yeah, I'm watching it happen right now as he's trying to destroy everything. There's the moment when Ultron gets super powerful and Doctor Strange just unleashes completely at him. Like everything that he has consumed begins to kind of come out at him.
That was some cool animation, by the way.
Well, that's what I was about to say. It looked like a comic book panel, guys.
Yeah.
With all the different variations and everything, just right there on one, almost like each frame, just kind of, it was just, I thought that was just outstanding. I thought it was super cool.
Right. That makes me want to go back and just dive into who all of the, let's say, gods / demigods / demons that he had consumed.
Yeah.
Because I'm really curious about some of them. That you had the guy that had like the goat horns or the ram horns.
Yeah.
That kind of formed Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And the only person I can think of that has like their own dimension or that that could possibly be is a character I am so familiar with. It's called Satanist. So as evil as that sounds,
Satanist,
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like he's one that they really shied away from and just said, we'll just use Mephisto. We'll just go with Mephisto as our devil. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They're like, well, there is this guy over here, but that doesn't really matter. We don't want to,
Satanist is not selling in the Bible Belt of America.
Exactly.
You hear folks in my church right now. What?
Adam, we didn't talk about the widow showing up on her planet where they go to fight Ultron, and we've gotten caught up in a bunch of other like talk and stuff. A question that we had last week was answered by her. She is apparently the last human alive in that realm.
Yeah, and that's sad. And that's sweet that they end it, coming back to her and giving her a life. The Watcher didn't have to do that, but in the kindness of his heart, he did. So that was nice. Makes everybody feel good.
Yep. Well, she's on this planet. She's still kicking, and she almost kind of ruins things at first when she steals the Soul Stone out from and everything. But then she takes her shot, and that virus from the last episode, comes into play and everything. And there's our good buddy Arnim Zola, about to do his work. And did you feel like that he was going to be the answer, or did you kind of foresee it going south when he showed up?
I had a lot of questions. I thought it could kind of go either way, but it was more likely to go the way that it did because he was a villain. Hydra was about world domination, so why would he want to give things up? He would have had to have really do some thinking while he was locked in that computer all these years to have a change of heart, and it did seem a little bit unlikely. So I wasn't surprised by that. It was cool to to see him in the stomach, the projection of him in that. So yeah, and inside vision. So perhaps we'll need an action figure of that. I'm kind of thinking we're surely going to get a wave 2 of what if figures after this. There's a bunch of characters still left.
Who do you think? In a wave of what are they? 6 figures in a wave?
Yeah.
Who could you see them doing? Who could you see them doing in a wave that they haven't done yet?
Gamora. A whole bunch of zombies. I mean, they could do a zombie of just about every character, especially.
Can we get a party Thor?
Yeah, party Thor would be fun. The accessories would be what make him.
If they don't, they're going to be party poopers. I'll just say that. Let's just
we
throw
need
that out.
We need a scrawny Steve Rogers too.
Yes.
There has never been.
Does he not come with the Hydra Stomper?
No,
I don't think so. Really I'd love for him to, but I don't think so.
Oh, I thought he did. I thought the Hydra Stomper came with little Steve Rogers. Did Luke, have you got the whole wave, Lucas?
No, I've just got Captain Carter, Zombie Cap, and then Zombie Hunter, Spidey. I'm on the fence about because I want the Watcher. And see, a part did not come with the Zombie Cap. He doesn't come with a piece. I didn't realize that, but that's still I wanted to figure.
Right.
So there's there's T'Challa to get, there's Doctor Strange to get.
That's what I was wondering. I was wondering who I couldn't remember who all was in the wave. You got Spidey, you got Zombie Cap, you've got
Peggy. You've got Doctor Strange. You've got Sylvie from the Loki series is in that wave too.
All right, and she comes with a Watcher piece.
Yeah, and then there's somebody else that we're missing.
Is it T'Challa? Does they have it T'Challa?
Gamora's sister. What's her name?
Yeah, Nebula.
They've got blonde Nebula, don't they?
Yeah, Nebula. And she's definitely. I mean, I love Nebula. I think she's had an amazing arc in the MCU.
Figure for her.
There's your peg warmer right there.
Because she was a non-factor in the series.
Right.
And
the triple cross, that's it. So
if they did a wave 2, I guess you'd have the Tony Stark Sakaar armored Build-A-Figure. The Hulkbuster, the Sakaar Hulkbuster.
Right,
well, if they did a wave 2, I bet the wave 2 will be the Ultron guy. Ultron.
Oh yeah.
Because everybody wants that.
Sure.
I mean, not everybody has Justin to make them ones.
Right.
I got to show it again. I got this from a website. Do you remember in the 90s, Coca-Cola had that website, ittyditty.com, which stood for if you don't know, you don't go.com. And they did it to promote concerts. So I pretend like I got this from ittyditty.gui.com, which is if you don't know, you don't get infinityultron.com.
Okay.
So, sorry. Couldn't help it.
That's what we call the long way home, everybody.
Oh,
That's a long way.
I've been watching a lot of Norm Macdonald this week.
No way. Just roll with it.
Yes. This moth went to a psychiatrist, you see, or podiatrist. There's a podiatrist. There's a foot doctor. Podiatrist went to him, and doc said, "What's wrong?" He said, "Doc, my life's in shambles, Doc. I work all day at old man Shaughnessy's sweatshop down there, and just working for just barely making ends meet, and I'm in a loveless marriage, Doc. I look at my wife and I'm like, I just don't love you anymore. And I know she doesn't love me because, well, she doesn't respect me, Doc. It's old man Shaughnessy, he just runs me over and she knows it. And then Then my son Gregory, he doesn't respect me either, Doc. I see him and I just want to say, don't become what I've become. It's horrible. It's horrible. I just I see in him the same young man that I used to be, full of hopes and dreams, and I just know they're going to be dashed against the rocks, and I can't help him, Doc, because he doesn't want anything to do with me. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at, Doc. And the podiatrist looks at him and he says, sounds like you need a psychiatrist. Why'd you come in here? And the moth said, because the light was on. My favorite Norm Macdonald joke.
It's so good. It's so good.
And that's your Norm minute for this week, ladies and gentlemen.
And that's what
well, that's one of the reasons why something happens to me. I get into somebody, a writer, an author, in this case, Norm Macdonald, he started showing up on my YouTube feeds a lot about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And I kept on watching, and then he passes away.
Yep.
So Adam, this is one of the reasons why you can never become my favorite author, because
means
I got David Gemmell passed away as I was reading his stuff. I got Robert Jordan passed away as I was reading his stuff. Sorry, Adam. Now, last week though,
then I just want you to buy my books and put them on the shelf, but don't read them.
Right.
So he can stay alive.
On the shelf, then walk away.
Y'all can just tell me about them. I'll put them behind me.
They look great on the shelf, but I don't like that Adam Ray guy.
We almost lost Adam though last week, if you remember, when the Flurkin almost swallowed him.
That's right. He got attacked.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Little post-show action going on there.
Amorous kitties.
Speaking of amorous, what did you guys Justin's like, where's he going with this?
Wow,
that took a turn. And maybe I'm reading too much into it. So
I got my amorous action figure girlfriend back there too.
Oh, Adam, no.
I wasn't going there.
Adam, you don't sound creepy, man. Don't sound such a good dude. Don't sound creepy.
I'll try to redeem this. Let's see what we can do. So when Doctor Strange brings the horde of zombies down on Ultron, okay?
Oh yeah.
And he's like, oh, good idea or whatever. And he says, it's what, I can't remember the exact word. It's what came with it. So then you see Wanda there, the Scarlet Witch, zombie form, and she's ready to go out. Then she has what looks like a moment of realization, and then boom. So do you think she realized, hey, that's Vision, and her heart was tugged, or it was just a moment, hey, I'm dead, boom, he's blowing us up? What do you think?
Go ahead, Adam.
Dr. Amherst, go ahead.
When it happened, it only occurred to me that she realized she was out of her league.
Okay.
And was both surprised and yet resigned. It didn't occur to me the fact that she was looking at Vision. She did have some recognition of Vision at the end of her own episode, so I suppose she would recognize him and acknowledge that here.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's just meant to be a funny moment of like, because you can't really tell that it's Vision because he's got that Ultron kind of head over, and the only thing about him that looks remotely Vision is right down here around his chin and mouth and everything. So I think it's just meant to be a funny moment of like, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta at least give it up to myself on that one, because y'all asked me last week what I wanted to see. One was not nice Gamora, but two, I wanted to see some zombies.
That's
and
true,
if I remember right, somebody asked me like, which one? And I said, all of them.
Right. And you did.
When else are you ever going to do this? Right. Only in a what if episode does this you just give it a total pass.
Yeah.
You give it a pass. And just quickly on that one, Doctor Strange, he's really known a lot of his powers are like interdimensional as well as multi-realm. He can open up a transportation from one realm to another realm, another dimension to another dimension. But I remember that one's called like the Conjurer's Cone, and where he brings, and I think he did this in the Avengers #3, where he brought one of Thanos' henchmen, and they end up snapping off his arm, and it's Conjurer's Cone. Yeah. So that's that was pretty neat seeing that ability, especially just dropping, I think, unsuspecting zombies onto Ultron.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but then you also have, what did he started casting those protection spells on everybody. Mm-hmm. So growing up, I was not allowed to read Doctor Strange by no means.
Well, of course not.
Right. So now that in my older years, I've really, I'm not gonna say dove into, but I really kind of curious about him. But those protection spells are called the Shackles of Sheol, I believe. And again, I didn't notice it at the time, but they are like uniquely attuned to each individual.
Yep.
So that had to get pointed out to me, and I didn't notice it. I was like, oh, those are the shackles or whatever they're called.
Right.
So
oh, they're the shackles of Sheol.
No, I'm sorry. That's the it's not the shackles. It's the I apologize. That's the shield of the archangel.
The shield of the seraphim.
Seraphim. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, the shield. It's the shield of the seraphim. Yeah, the if you go back and watch as it goes up, it's almost like an armor that goes on each one of them, and it's very much attuned to each one of their different looks. And
I liked how it went around Thor. It kind of gave him his helmet and everything.
Well, I want to, Justin, you're talking about the power that he has, like that sling ring thing, where he's just opening up portals here and there, and here it's magnified because he has torn a hole in the universe to bring those zombies in from a whole other universe. And not just a dimension, a universe, it's absolutely. And so you just see how powerful he is. And I wonder if the Watcher is kind of throwing him a little bit of his power, too, like, kind of like helping, kind of charging him up a little bit. I wonder if the Watcher's granted him any of the power cosmic.
I guess maybe with the power cosmic, I didn't think about using the power cosmic, but obviously Strange is like cosmically aware. But I also wonder, with his unique ability of creating these funnels from one universe to another universe, because he does have that power that is well within his range, just as being the Sorcerer Supreme, that is in his range. I wonder if with these new guidelines that we're kind of getting in What If of the Infinity Stones, if he can potentially draw power from those universes into another stone, if he ever ends up with stones from different universes. I don't know, because like I said, it's a whole new set of guidelines that we have to learn on these Infinity Stones.
Yeah, and maybe I feel like they're going to start to move away from them too, just in the same way of like with Tony Stark kind of phasing him away. I think we've got to get away from Infinity Stone as far as the MCU goes.
I'm really surprised how much the Infinity Stones are continuing to be a part of the storyline with these Disney Plus series.
Yeah.
Like, I thought we were gonna just cut them off, but we continue to play a role.
Yeah, I feel like they've got to get away from that, because if you're going to move into whatever the new threat is, whether it's Kang or Galactus or whoever, I think you need to start looking in that general direction.
Go ahead, Justin.
Could that also be just due to copyright and characters that they had control of? So hence arcs and stories that they now have the rights to tell?
Maybe.
Completely?
I just wonder who they don't have. I wonder who they don't have control of now. Like, I don't know.
The only one, I could be way off base of it. The only ones that I think is on the hook is Spider-Man. I think they've got pretty much everybody back when it comes to groups. They might have some, ringers out there, individuals, but when it comes to groups, I think they've got the FF back, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and
X-Men and Mutants. So that
with
really
the Fox acquisition, that's going to bring your X-Men and Mutants back into the fold. So, and that's where it gets really, I say, interesting. Like, that's a whole geek out loud in and of itself. Like, who in the Spider-Man universe or who in the Spider-Man realm of characters and everything are still going to be under the Sony kind of deal, because obvious, I don't know, I don't want to get into too much of that, because like there, you've got your rogues gallery that would definitely be Spider-Man, but it's just interesting how they divvied those up back in the day, because Sony had Spider-Man doing live action stuff with Spider-Man and whatever supporting cast they had of him, but it was Fox that for the longest time had Daredevil, so they got Kingpin along with Daredevil, whereas Kingpin is always kind of, to me, like his original, the original arch nemesis would have been Spider-Man. Like he would run in that realm a little bit more, but that's neither here nor there. My point is this: we move on in this.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm just talking about like the power that Strange has here, and the reason I brought up the power cosmic, and for those of the uninitiated in the power cosmic, this is, you'll hear the Silver Surfer talk about this, Galactus talk about this. This is the power of the cosmic beings. Like this is almost omnipotent style power, just super duper. When he begins to really get into it with Ultron and they start battling back and forth, you don't just see laser beams and light shows. You've got some Kirby crackle in there. And comic fans know what I mean when I say Kirby crackle. It's those black spots, the black dots that aren't really dots. It's a crack. You can just feel it crackling with power on the comic book page back in the day. And that was always kind of power cosmic, like that went to that cosmic power kind of arena. Whereas Doctor Strange, because of the Ditko connection, always was a little bit more, wavy lines and that sort of thing. But that Kirby crackle, man, and it was all over this episode. And I thought that was really cool and something. It to me, it seemed to set that power that they were using apart from even the Infinity Stone power that they'd been using to that point. And I know I didn't leave that open-ended enough for anyone to respond. So,
no, I definitely saw that. Being a comic fan, that was definitely there. And we, moving forward in the MCU, we really have to pay attention to little keys like that. Not only colors of Wanda's colors, who's using this color, who's using that color, but also the powers that are tied to them. So that's a good pickup moving forward as we watch any MCU show. They're tying even like the colors and the shapes of the powers as we see them on screen together.
Before we get out of the story proper, I don't know what else there is to kind of touch on, and I'll let you guys do whatever you want to do as far as touching on different parts of the thing. I want to go ahead and jump to the coda, to the mid-credit scene. And this is something that these shows have done for us since WandaVision, is there's not a post-credit until the very last episode. And in this case, it is Peggy back on the Lemurian Star. They've won the day or whatever, and Black Widow is showing her something that they found, and it's Hydra Stomper, and she says someone's in there. Adam, is this their version? Is this that universe's version of Winter Soldier?
Yeah, I guess so. I hadn't thought about the fact that he might not be Steve as she left him, but I suppose that's a possibility too. He could be changed in some way. Obviously, the hope is that's her Steve, and they can resume their romance. So yeah, that would be interesting. And I think clearly, if there is a season 2, which apparently there is, clearly there will be a part 2 for her. So I think we'll see that, whatever it is.
I think so too, Lucas, because I think it just feels like that, she was the premiere episode of What If, was Beefy Peggy. They made a big deal of her being the reason that Black Widow on the Age of Ultron world, trusted her right off the bat. Like she kind of took that leadership spot really in a lot of ways, and kind of this episode felt like it had a lot to do with her as much as anything else in some ways. Like there just seemed to be, she got that whole opening sequence that was a little bit the only person got even remotely as long a sequence of being called by the Watcher was Party Thor, and that was played mostly for laughs. Everything else was just quick. And so I just wonder if they're setting us up for some Captain Carter down the road.
Well, let me ask you guys this from the MCU perspective. Okay, in Winter Soldier, when Cap gets on the boat, has his fight, Black Widow is using the flash drive to download something. What was that that she downloaded? Do you remember? Is that Winter Soldier stuff?
Yeah, no, it's Hydra stuff. It's Hydra related for sure, because Fury, she turns it into him, and it's encrypted.
Okay.
And so he's trying to figure out what's going on. And so there's something that happens with that causes him to go back to Robert Redford and say, we need to hold off on this operation.
Yeah.
And he shows up in Cap's apartment, remember, like, be quiet,
That's
be quiet.
right.
And then he gets shot and everything. So he knew he was, he got chased too down the road. Like, it was after the big car chase. Right. So obviously it had something on there that may not lead directly to the Winter Soldier, but they knew of the Winter Soldier.
Right.
And it was more about Hydra having infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. And so the reason I bring that up, so that was obviously something that happened in that universe. So I'm thinking there's something on the evil side of things that's associated with what's on this boat. So you got Hydra Stomper. But then again, remember, at least my perspective, the Watcher, he knows a lot more than everybody else, and he makes that comment, where you're going back needs you.
Right.
Now, of course they do, but does he know, okay, this is how things are going to unfold? You're going to find the Hydra Stomper. There's going to be this whole, could it be a reunion with Steve, an evil Steve? We don't know. But there's more to it. Here's a funny question though. I know you guys just love my funny questions. What if there's an internal what if here? Let's think about this. What if, when Doctor Strange did the zombie dump, okay, and Peggy actually saw zombie Cap, what would that have happened? What do we think would have happened there?
Oh, I think it would have messed her up, but fortunately Zombie Cap was pretty much dispatched in that episode, wasn't he?
Well, I thought so too, but when he's like one of the first ones that come out, and he looks like he's intact.
Did he come out of the hole?
Yeah, he was one of the first ones.
He was the first one out.
I don't remember.
He was the first one out.
Yeah. So what if they admit? I know that's just silliness, but yeah, she's a prominent character, as you've talked about. I mean, she gets sent back, yes, because her world needs her, but maybe there's more to the Watcher's comments, because he knows that she's about to find out about the Hydra Stomper and maybe even Steve in there. And is he good or bad? When we last saw him in that universe, she just got sucked into the inner dimension, right?
Right.
And he was there, on the ground or whatever with the Stomper. So who knows?
Yeah, but puny Steve, should be dead unless there is some type of Winter Soldier experimentation that goes on with him, like they did with Bucky,
right?
Or unless he got, I mean, that's ultimately yes. Unless he got, well, I mean, it does. It sounds horrible, but like the truth of the matter is puny Steve would be dead.
Yeah. He'd have to have the super soldier type,
right? And
mentality or composition.
So I think that that. Okay, let me see here. It is Cap coming down at him, but he's all in one piece.
I know, right? So this happened. The draw happened at some other point in the timeline prior to their.
Does it have to be the zombie Cap from the What If episode we saw?
That's true.
According to the other ones, it should be the same one. According to the other people that were chosen,
it could be another. It could be part of the multiverse.
Other zombies. Yeah.
This opens a whole nother thing, but I just thought
he's got his shield. Hawkeye's there too, so is Falcon flying. I'm trying to pause and go.
That'd be a fun dive to see all's in that scene.
You can't really watch this back in slow motion like the YouTube. If this were on YouTube, I'd be able to watch it at 0.25 speed.
Yeah, but you're right. If she saw him, she'd be wrecked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but also she wouldn't recognize him as Captain America. You know what I mean? True. Like for her, she's told by Black Widow on that Earth that in our world, Steve Rogers, or no, Dr. Strange tells her, in my world, Steve Rogers got the super soldier serum.
Mm-hmm.
And and to her, she's like, oh, that's something I'd like to see. Almost like, hey, I bet he'd be hot if he were a super soldier.
You don't think the heart could just draw them? I mean, just like you were talking about with Scarlet Witch or Wanda and
you were
Vision.
Talking about that.
Well, I'm just saying, you were saying that she wouldn't recognize him because of the mask.
Right.
I think they would. I think Scarlet Witch would recognize him. I think she would recognize Steve. I mean, this is crazy illustration, but you're out and about.
You old romantic, you.
Let's say Steve's out and about, okay, and he's got some kind of suit of armor on, and all you can see is his mouth. If his bride Haley were to come up upon him, she'd know it was Steve. Come on.
She would probably recognize him, but she would also know I would think she would know that's not her Steve, which is what Fury says to Widow on the helicarrier. You're a Black Widow. He basically says you're a Black Widow, but or did he say you're not my Natalie?
You're not my Black Widow.
The same spirit or something.
Yeah, the same spirit. Yeah.
But even if that's even told to you, that's not your Steve or that's not your Cap or whatever. There's still your heart's going to be. It's going to be. I mean, okay.
There's a lot of references to that happening in the comics, not necessarily in the zombies, but as well as characters who remain dead, especially villains as they come back. They'll bring them back as not zombies, but as undead. And there's always drama between people who they used to have a connection with, of where they try to relate to each other, but the mission still kind of goes forward.
Yeah. And Shaz has got some comments over here that I've neglected, and I apologize, Shaz. Shaz says, what if guidelines could only work through Doctor Strange, the MCU? At the end of a crossover saga, you must leave those things behind. And then he says, will Alpha Flight enter the MCU? His last comment, Kingpin was first with Spidey, but by the 80s, more commonly, the rogue du jour of DD. So,
that's how I see it too.
And Charissa, sorry if I missaid that. She agrees with Adam. I think your heart knows. The zombie part would be unrecognizable. And
listen, of break. Course, Carissa agrees with Adam on that, agrees with you guys on that. That is, come on, Carissa. Y'all know it's one thing to be a hopeless romantic. It's another thing to be like this zombie Scarlet Witch recognizes the chin and mouth of Vision in the.
I'm saying every time I'm going to watch it, that's what I'm thinking. So that's good for me. It didn't have to.
Sucker, you're a sucker.
That's okay.
What a sucker.
Zombie romance.
That's right.
I have a question.
Which, by the way, real quick, I need to make. I was told last week I didn't point out the lack of James Spader voice was not good, even though I think Justin might have brought that up. But I was also told to make sure that I mentioned that my wife's favorite part was Zombie Scarlet Witch showing up. So
there you go. Way to go, Haley. I like that too.
Yeah, that was impressive when she showed up, because all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's on now.
Right, right.
Right.
But hey, I had a question, and I just don't recall when Peggy's talking to the widow there at the right before the final battle, and she says there's only 3 people on this planet, I'm paraphrasing, that you completely trust. One would be Peggy, and she's talking to the Black Widow, so herself, Peggy. The other person the Black Widow would trust would have been Clint.
Right.
Who's the third?
Nick Fury.
Yeah, I was thinking Fury, I would think.
That's one dude you don't want to be trusting. I'm sorry, but okay.
Well, no, listen, I agree.
Maybe from the comics for sure.
But she needs a better judgment on characters to trust. That's where she's going.
Judge a character.
And I like Nick Fury, but I mean,
Cap does have legs. I've confirmed Zombie Cap does have legs.
I appreciate that you doubted everything that I've said.
I just wanted to make sure. It's like I just want to make sure. Come on now.
Oh, that's okay. I'll talk to my counselor about it.
Well, that's fine. Look, anyhow. Anyway.
A podiatrist. I'll talk to my podiatrist about it.
Yeah. The light was on.
The light was
so well, guys, anything else from this episode that we haven't really touched on that is worthy of touch on? I really thought it was a great season finale. I don't know how you guys felt about the situation.
Yeah, I think so too. I was just gonna throw this out to our comic guys that know a lot more about the Watcher. He makes those comments at the end, and I wrote them down. Your stories are everything to me. Every single story is my home. I mean, are we just talking because he exists outside of that and he gets a peek into everybody's story? Is there more more to who he is that's loaded in those statements.
At that point, like I've seen some people say the Watcher is us. We are the Watcher, because these stories are everything to us. I think what you have is you all
right, Adam?
You scared? Yeah. You scared me, Adam. I was like, what the? Who the? How the? Edit. I was just sitting there thinking, I don't know. The Watchers sworn to watch, never to interfere. I don't know that we've ever seen the Watcher or a Watcher become that emotional or that seemingly desperate in the comics. Have we, Justin? Not that I'm aware of.
That emotional or that desperate. Y'all brought about Age, Original Sin last week. Yeah. His interaction between him and Nick Fury in that, he gets a little heated. He brings the pain. Yeah. So yeah, he does get emotional. We had to talk about What If 39 right there, and a lot of the story we talked about, like, has he ever gotten into making some actively being in the universe and doing his own thing. In that story there, where to go? Right here, there's some scenes in there when it starts off where he is Uatu is at the Time Variance Authority, and the guys at the Time Variance Authority are saying, we've actually chosen people to go take care of this mission that we need to take care of. And the Uatu did not get in their way. He just allowed it to happen. And they, similar to this story where it said, Thor, I choose you. Black Widow, I choose you. Yes, that one right there. They actually chose people specifically out of different timelines in that comic right there that Steve's got on the screen for what we saw here. Now, I will say, when I saw the Watcher reach down and say, I choose you, I kind of got the picture of like Lucas at a Walmart seeing like that one Legend or Black series.
It'd be the Black series.
And so for now on, please, when y'all pick up one of these action figures, you have to say, I choose you every time, because that's now ingrained in my visuals. So you're canon in my book.
Ben Grimm.
The Infinity Saga Thor, I choose you.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Adam, you got any final thoughts or commentary on the episode that we've missed that you wanted to bring to the table and talk about?
I need to buy some new action figures.
This is the Dork Side got in the things from the retro wave things. Got several cases of those in very early, apparently, and so mine got sent out to me.
So you got it?
Yeah, nice. I like the head sculpt. This is the head sculpt with the teeth.
Has it got a different color across his chest? Or is that
there's a weird kind of shading across there, and it's on the Super Scroll Build-A-Figure version too. There's a little bit of a lighter shade across. It's a little bit distracting and not my favorite thing about this figure at all. But I do like I like the trunks on him, the way his trunks are. I like this head sculpt with the brow. That's almost a John Byrne style in 3 dimensions kind of brow for the Thing. And sometimes the Thing had teeth in the comics, and sometimes he did not, depending on who was drawing him. And so they also have this head sculpt with no teeth.
Oh, nice.
So
you're not the only one that doesn't like that two-toned way they did that across the chest. I've heard I've talked to somebody else that had an issue with that.
It honestly just doesn't make any sense. It's a weird kind of choice of highlighting that doesn't make a lot of sense, and it goes around to the back too. So it's almost like but it's definitely a choice in the way the paint is done. Or a clogged nozzle in the way the paint is done, because it's not quite a dry brush kind of thing. It's almost like they were trying to highlight a portion, and it just didn't.
They're not painted that way in the promo images either.
No,
I remember he's a I use a notably solid color without any weathering.
I think they were trying to do the same thing they did on the Super Scroll Wave thing, which has a little bit of light color across the chest area and everything to try to be more highlighting the rocks and that sort of thing. To me, as far as a all around sculpt and paint job goes, the Walgreens thing still has the win. But I can pop this head off of this guy and put him on the Walgreens thing and be perfectly happy.
Yeah, it's the same body, just I think a different head, isn't it?
Pretty much.
That's the one I've got in the back there. The paint job on him, it's more of a realistic one. They painted in all the cracks with a darker brown.
They've got a good little black wash or brown wash on it that highlights those things. So I was going to show you guys this real quick. Let me get him out of the way here. The absorbing man. I don't know why he'd have ever absorbed wood, but he is there. So
the Ewoks won't know what hit him.
Yeah, the Ewoks won't know. Well, the Ewoks already don't know what hit him.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, he's up there.
That's a good Hulk.
Ready to do some damage.
What Hulk is that?
That is the 80th anniversary Hulk and Thing 2-pack. Hulk. This is my favorite Hulk figure I've ever had ever. This is just
so cool.
He's such a great looking figure. Let me
Now he came with Thing, you said?
He came with the first appearance Wolverine.
Oh, okay.
Like he just has such a great comic book look about him and that face and everything. Like to me, this is the best sculpted Hulk head of any Marvel Legends they've done. He always looks either too monstrous or too Frankenstein-y or just like weird, elongated. Like but this looks like he stepped out of the comic page and or off of the old 80s Hulk cartoon or whatever the case may be. But like he's got his torn lab coat you can take on or off. It's a great figure. And so he's one that when they announced this, like he came out around the same time as that Colossus Juggernaut 2-pack. It was the Colossus Juggernaut and Hulk with the first appearance Wolverine. I could have cared less about that little Wolverine figure. I wanted the Hulk. And so
checking them on eBay right now, man. They're pricey. Ooh.
Yeah. Well, they haven't re-released them like they did. And it's a great body. Like it's a great sculpt. It's a great body. It's the same body that's on the 80th anniversary Comic-Con exclusive Hulk and the gray 80th anniversary Hulk, the retro card Hulk, which I can't get to right now, so I won't try. But yeah, so that's some good stuff. And I don't know, did you guys on the Instagram the other day, I posted it. I had balance for just a moment. Remember last week when I was trying to get Wolverine to balance in Colossus's hand for the Screwball special? For the briefest of moments, there was balance, and I had him. And then as soon as I snapped the picture, he fell over. So it worked out great. But it was there, and I'm like, oh, I got it. Where's my phone? Click.
I'll say it again. Museum wax.
Well, yeah. Well, this was not a situation. This is a situation of a figure trying to hold the full weight of another figure, and keep like the legs balanced. Like it's as much posing as it was stability. It was just they all. How's this? What's the Prince song? All seven, and we watch them fall. Yeah. So
what do we got there? The wrecking ball.
I've got an envelope I'm gonna need to send you, Steve.
Shut your mouth. Oh, sweet. Nice. Is that the one from the Gwen pool?
Yeah, that's the one.
Or Spider Gwen? It's the wrecking ball. It's the wrecking ball for the absorbing man.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's an odd accessory because the chain doesn't move.
Okay.
So it's forever locked in that.
I was given instructions and some stuff as to how to actually get a chain that you can pose with him and make move and everything. So but I'll take that dude in a heartbeat. I love it. I think so much. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So, that's awesome.
Do you have his optional arms and all of that?
I've got an extra head. I've got his optional head and his optional arms over here. I haven't unpacked those quite yet. So Yeah.
Alrighty.
I'm really stoked about it. I was really glad. He's one of my favorite villains of all time, just because I've just always dug him. And I was surprised as I got into things. I always looked at him as more of a Hulk villain, because that's when I was first kind of introduced to him, was in the Incredible Hulk pages. But I was surprised to find out he had his origins more in the Thor world. Loki gave him his powers back in the day.
Is there any special, and any, is his wrecking balls made out of steel in the comics?
His wrecking ball,
is it one of the special metals?
It's just a regular. It was just a regular ball and chain ball, because he's in prison, but it gets enchanted along with him. So whatever he absorbs, it becomes as well.
Oh,
that's right. Okay. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I could go on about the Absorbing Man. He, like I say, he's one of my favorite villains. Anytime he showed up, I always thought it was really cool.
Hey, here's an idea, Steve.
What's that?
You could do one of our character spotlights on the Absorbing Man.
On the Absorbing Man? I could. Yeah. You're right. I could.
That'd be a cool one to do.
That'd be fun.
Well, I've got a question for you then. Who wins between the Absorbing Man with his wrecking ball and Bulldozer here?
And is it Bulldozer that has the wrecking ball?
The wrecking ball, but his has some Asgardian magic in it.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's the thing, is they're both got a little bit of Asgardian magic to them. And the thing is, if it depends on it, the thing about Absorbing Man is whenever he was in a fight with one of the heroes, he would always end up absorbing something stupid, and would end up getting himself in trouble that way. There was a fight he was having when the Hulk was gray and living in Las Vegas. By the way, you brought it up at the beginning, Justin. Greatest battle cry ever for a superhero. Viva Las Vegas. That's the new I have the power. I thought that was great. But he's fighting the Hulk, and he absorbs some rock from the side of a mountain, basically. And the Hulk begins just to beat the snot out of him. And he's like, you've got a choice. You can either let me crush you like this, or you can try to revert back to human, to your human form, and then what you're going to be, And so he basically just beats the tar out of him, pulverizes him, and throws him over into a river. We don't see him again until the pages of Quasar number 6.
Oh, another Quasar reference.
The Acts of Vengeance episode of Quasar, when he comes up out of the water, because he finally pulled himself together, and he's fighting Quasar now, and Quasar has his power bands, and so he grabs the power bands and absorbs them. And the thing about those power bands is, and it's established in the very first issue, is that if you're not meant to wear them, or you don't know how to use them right, they'll destroy you. They'll blow you up. So he blows up. And I don't know what happened to him after that. I don't know when he came back around, but he's been back around for a while. He's with Gamma Flight, I believe, in the comics.
So Quasar had were they nega bands?
No, he had the quantum bands. The
quantum
nega bands.
That's right.
Nega bands were what the Captain Marvel had.
Marvel had. Okay. And, I think they ended up. He ended up getting his hands on those eventually when he was like, okay. So you brought up Quasar last week and got Quasar again. Have y'all noticed how many times What If brought up Ego, the Living Planet? Did y'all see that?
I saw. Obviously,
I can think of at least 3 times. And that's what I think of.
At the end of the T'Challa episode, then and then in this finale, he was there, and then he's one of the planets that gets blown up by Ultron. Yeah, they show him get blown up by Ultron. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was weird that they kept on having that specifically Ego in there. I wouldn't be surprised if they lean back on that somehow, as if Ego isn't finished.
They could. I think it's just one of those things. It's like you're tying him, like when you watch the T'Challa episode of What If, the character swapping there, you realize, in your MCU mind, you go to, well, now wait a minute, Peter Quill was the son of Ego, so how are they going to work that with T'Challa? So he shows up at the end, which then leads into where we're at there. I think showing him in the Ultron deal was just like, here's something they'll recognize.
Yeah,
I think it's more meant to be like an Easter egg. So
yeah, because it had the Sovereign, all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah, Lucas, did you get Star Wars vibes, Lucas or Adams, with this line? All too easy.
Yes, I did immediately.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
And I kept expecting, it's like the next thing he's supposed to say is impressive, most impressive, but he didn't. So
yeah, I immediately got him. So that was was that the only Star Wars Easter egg we had this time?
That's all I counted.
Yeah, that's the only one I saw.
But hey, guys, any Marvel property that has a Star Wars reference in it is better than any Marvel property that doesn't. So we'll take the one.
Well, it depends on the Star Wars reference.
They fly now?
Star Wars reference I can recognize.
No, that's not a good reference, Lucas. They fly now is not a good reference.
I know that. That's why I inserted it.
We will accept original trilogy references.
Droid is ready.
And prequel trilogy references.
And Caravan of Courage.
We will also we'll accept Caravan of Courage. We'll accept Battle for Endor references.
Mace.
Yes, Sindel and Mace. Indeed. Sweet.
I'm not a fan of that series at all. I got that up in my Ewok village right now.
Nice. Oh, that's a Star Wars. What series of Star Wars Galaxy is that from?
Star Wars Galaxy. I don't know which. It's number 298. I have all of them.
Okay, so that's a series.
Lucas asked me what else I collect, and I was like, I collect comics and comic book cards and some comic book action figures.
Do you have? I'm sure you do. Do you have all of the first Marvel series from 1991?
All of them. 92, 93, 91, 92, 99, 91, 92, 93, 94. Sometimes multiple copies if they have variations. I've got around 50 sets.
I've got
cards.
91 and 92 complete, with exceptions of some of the holograms.
Let me know what you need if you ever want to get back into it. I probably got them.
What do you mean if I ever want to get back into it?
He's always
get into a set of comic book cards. I mean, it takes some setting down and I mean, like some commitment. So if you ever want to bust that out, let me know.
Yeah. Oh, I love them. I love going through them. I need to find. I don't have any on hand real quick. Lucas, what kind of hands does that Spider-Man come with?
He comes with fists and hold on, let me look again.
And flippers.
Yeah. So there's the ones that come on him. The Webbers.
He doesn't have the splayed hands.
Hold on, let me look. I put them in my bag of accessories. Find them. They're fists, I think. Both of them are fists. Pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they are.
One of the new movie figures, he's got hands to like hold guns, but no accessories. And that's unusual for Spider-Man.
Gripper hands?
Yeah, and I don't know what you're supposed to do with them.
I'm just going to say this to Hasbro, because I know they're listening to me right now. Whatever. Anytime you make a Spider-Man figure, you need to make him with the splayed hands.
Totally.
Just include every version of hands with him, because those hands help him. You can do wall crawling looks.
Mm-hmm.
You can balance him, apparently. Gosh, some of the balancing I've seen from some people I follow on Instagram and YouTube and stuff is just out of this world. Just ridiculous, amazing stuff that they do.
Jazz says, quick, give me a Caravan of Courage quote.
I'll mess it up.
Ship crash it.
Yeah.
You got it. Ewoks.
I would have to do the noises that the Ewoks do.
Well, remember, she teaches them how to speak the English. So
the English.
Well, I guess in the Star Wars universe, it's called basic.
Thank goodness they came out with that on Disney Plus, because some of the ways I used to have to watch that, because I didn't have a DVD of it, was so grainy.
Yeah.
If I ever try to go back, it was almost unwatchable.
I bought the DVD the minute it was available. There was no way I was going to let that DVD slide past me. When I found out that thing was available, I'm like, yes, please, I'll take it. So now, granted, look, I'm going to be honest with you. The Ewok Adventure is one of those things that is very nostalgic for me. I remember the night it aired on TV and watched it with friends after church and stuff. But to be honest with you, it's not great. I mean, like it's
so bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It really is rough.
It's gloriously bad.
Yes,
really
that's the thing. It's not, and I'm going to make Shaz mad because he loves the holiday special so much. It's not holiday special bad, but it's like, it's almost like, I can't believe I'm sitting here watching this so bad, but it's cute though in the same way.
Yeah.
Like,
the first one's better than the second. The second one's actually difficult to watch.
I disagree with that. I always liked the second one better because it just had more action in it. And to me, like, it was more action packed because it was the battle for Endor. Yeah. So I should have brought the battle wagon out instead of Ewok Village. I think it would have fit on camera better. I'm trying to find something specific and I can't get my hands on it.
You're looking for your holograms, aren't you?
I was looking for the I have some extra of the original set sitting around. Oh, I got these the other day, guys. This has been a long time ago. That I mean, like, this has been probably 2 or 3 months ago that I got these and never really talked about them at all on the show. I didn't know these existed. These are Fantastic Four, a set of Fantastic Four trading cards.
Oh,
from
what year? Yeah. What year?
It's the 90s. Give me a second. Let me get my old man set up going here. Everyone, I know we're now at the point in the show where we're boring everybody, and because I've gone from being a show to being anything else. Oh wow, this says 2008.
Yeah, if it was the 90s, I probably would have known about it.
Yeah, I thought I would have too.
I
didn't know anything about the 2008 series, but it was 2008. I can't make out who it says puts them out here. And I don't know why I tried to take the glasses off to see it because I got my contacts in and I can't read with my contacts. Oh my gosh, I'm so old.
Topps and Skybox did the majority of them.
Yeah.
With the 90s, there was Fleer did a lot. I thought Fleer did a Spider-Man set, and who did it was Impel, wasn't it? That did like the first
Impel,
couple,
yes,
couple
the first one's a little white border.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I came across most of mine as a comic book store owner. Said Justin, go ahead.
Yes, we've got to do those. Yeah.
Yes.
Y'all
back to the white here. So here's those. These are Impel Cosmic cards. Then we still got this one to do too, Steve. The 18.
Yes, we got to do that for
still
sure.
Got this one to do.
G.I. Joe. Yeah.
So back to the wax packs eventually.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's time to get back into it. So for sure. Well, guys, I've got nothing else. Any final thoughts on this episode, Lucas? Anything else you want to throw in here?
One of the things I know we talked about this over and over again, and I knew I'd seen it somewhere, but in the promo material for each episode that's been on Facebook on the Marvel site or Marvel page, they have used that little like almost teleprompt thing. You know, the words, it's like a sentence that'll be erased, and so it'll be, what if Loki wasn't born, or what if Thor was only child, which is exactly like you see in Loki, the series, when it's given those updates and things like that. So I think they're tying it all together. I know it's animated live action, but I think there's more to that to see, the connection between the Loki series and what's happening in the What If series. So.
Well, there was definitely that creation of the multiverse. That was what all the Loki hinged on at the end of all things. So, definitely, I can see where it all might be tying together. But I also think that, like, if we never have to visit any of these people in a live action setting, I'll be fine with that. I like existing in an animated realm.
Yeah,
and I really liked I really liked a lot of the animation in this episode. From the Kirby crackle, which we saw last week, but also the Doctor Strange scene we talked about. I think that needs to get a lot of attention from people. Just either breaking it down frame by frame, or just talking about what an interesting visual and amazing visual it was, as well as the moment when she hits Ultron with the arrow. And it kind of pulls back, and he's got all the dark lightning and stuff flashing out of him and everything before it goes into his head with he and Arnim Zola. That had a real anime kind of feel to it. And so This whole series, there, I really dug the animation. I like the fact that the characters weren't really stylized, but they also didn't go to super great lengths to try to make them like exact carbon copy replicas, almost rotoscope replicas of the actors who played these characters in the movies. Like they went it almost like when you're reading comics and a different artist takes on the role of a comic you've been reading, you recognize the characters, but they just look a little different. And I really was okay with that. My wife wasn't so much. I remember we were watching the Party Thor episode. She's like, they don't look right. They don't look right. And I'm like, they do. They
I think Killmonger was probably the one that looked the closest.
Agreed. Yeah.
Right.
So anyhow, Adam, you got any final thoughts about this episode or this season of What If that we haven't touched on or brought to the table?
Not really. No, I liked it. I want to see more. A nice surprise.
I would go for any animated Marvel series at this point. I think. I think that there's a lot to be done in animation, and early on with Avengers, there was a great cartoon that was coming on. I feel like it was like CW or Fox Kids, maybe. It was called the Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Had a great opening theme song and very comic heavy in the way that they kind of did their stories and stuff, but really love the characters they brought in. I like the animation, so I like well then after Avengers, that show was canceled. They went with this animated series called Avengers Assemble, which was supposed to be the Avengers existing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And this was, kind of the Marvel Cinematic, almost canon, kind of canon adjacent, I guess. And then they did the same thing with the Guardians of the Galaxy. And then in the Guardians of the Galaxy animated series, they actually used a lot of licensed music and stuff, a la the movie. So, I mean, it really made a lot of sense for them to do that. But I don't know that those, at that time, those weren't being played up as like, oh, this is part of the MCU. This, they didn't have the Marvel Studios and stuff. I would be okay to see more animated series, based on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and go back and do Cap in World War II. There's a lot of Captain America tales from World War II that can be told. And, if you don't want to get the actors, you can go back and do like a World War II Cap. You can do, anything. You can have some adventures with Iron Man that happened off camera. You can have, because when he talks about I've successfully privatized world peace, well, how'd you do that, man? What is it just by existing, that sort of thing.
Today, I didn't follow it up, so I didn't see the sources or the details, but supposedly they announced that there will be a new series with Catherine Hahn playing the Agatha Witch from the WandaVision, that she's going to have her own series, which could be a lot of fun. I thought she's tremendous. That actress is tremendous fun, but that character is too. So I'm looking forward to that if that's true. But also, it's been said all over Twitter that they were going to do a Star-Lord animated series, T'Challa Star-Lord, that he was going to have his own series. I'm not, again, I didn't follow it up, but at first I thought, oh, wow, yeah, that would have been cool. But on the other hand, knowing what cancer is like, I find that hard to believe, because you don't have someone as far along as him and Marvel not know it. So I would take that with a grain of salt. And
not to mention, like when he's doing the voice, like I was thinking about this, watching this episode, like he didn't sound like, unfortunately, his voice, and I know he's doing a little bit pitched down, to kind of have that T'Challa wisdom about him, but it still sounded a little weak, like, it's just, it's sad. It really is sad. From Variety, a WandaVision spinoff starring Catherine Hahn is in development. Hahn would reprise the role of Agatha Harkness, and it's described as a dark comedy, though exact plot details remain under wraps. WandaVision head writer Jack Schaefer would serve as the writer and executive producer on the project. Should the spinoff go forward, it would be the first project Schaefer has set up with Marvel since she signed an overall deal with them and 20th Television in May. So
dark comedy is a perfect tone. I hope that's what they do. It needs to be funny.
Well, and it sounds like it's just now kind of in the developmental phase of like getting some stuff together and pitching to Disney Plus, hopefully but I wouldn't think that it would be leaked that it's in development if it hasn't been greenlit, you know.
Right.
Is there anything in the pipeline as far as Disney Plus and Marvel, or is it all cinematic stuff?
Right now, it's all cinematic stuff that they've announced. I mean, obviously, I think it's pretty well known we're getting What If season 2.
Yeah.
I think they said Loki season 2 is a go now.
Yeah.
But
nothing like right now is about to happen.
Nothing's about to happen that I know of, because because as far as Disney Plus goes, what the next big thing coming is Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, in December.
In December, yeah. So we're not that far out from that.
Hawkeye's Thanksgiving, isn't it?
Hawkeye, that's right. Hawkeye's Thanksgiving. You're right, Adam. I felt like there was something coming in November. Yes, Hawkeye's coming in Thanksgiving. So that could be an interesting series. Again, I know they're pushing us toward this Young Avengers thing, and that's not me. You know, I don't feel like we've spent enough time on screen with these legacy characters. You know, that's my opinion. That's how I feel. Give me more Hulk, give me more Thor, give me more original Cap, give me more Iron Man, you know, give me more of these legacy characters. Give me more Spider-Man. You know, there's still a lot to do with him. I don't know if you guys have seen the spoilers from the Venom Let There Be Carnage, you know, post-credit scene or anything. So we won't spoil that here, but you know, give me more Spider-Man and his universe. Give me this Fantastic Four stuff that's coming, and please, for the love of Mickey Mouse, make it good. You know, like this is that point where I look and I look at everything that's come before in the Fantastic Four live action world, and I go all the way back to the 90s to the unreleased film, and I go to the 2000s to the Tim Story 2 films, and then that Abomination from 2015 or whenever it was, and I'm just like, this is our last hope. This is my last hope with the Fantastic Four, and you know, I'm praying and hoping they crack the code. It's the same. The director that's doing it is the same guy that did the Spider-Man movies, so you know,
help us, MCU. You're our only hope.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. Yeah, that's where I'm at with that. I'm sorry, Justin, any final thoughts about this episode or the season as a whole?
No, well, yeah, but before that, it is a shame that the 90s Fantastic Four makes me smile more than any of the others.
Dude, so. It's the best Fantastic Four movie out there, behind The Incredibles.
So bad. It's really bad. I could not blink during the action scenes. I just could not blink. It was so, you know, when they had the 100+ hammers coming out of the sky, that was amazing. Them throwing the Red Guardian shield, the Captain Peggy shield. It was just great. I love the fighting scenes. I did not want to look away. So I love the episode. It was a good episode for me.
The beefy Peggy and Black Widow taking on Ultron in the shield work that was going on was just so much fun. I'm like you. I really, really enjoyed that and what was.
I called that last week. Remember, I called it.
Yeah, that's true. You sure did.
It was excited to see that for sure.
You're the man. You're the man for calling stuff.
Yeah, I am. I've got a T-shirt made. I didn't wear it tonight.
You got a T-shirt made that says "You're the man"?
I'm the man for calling stuff.
Nice. I'm the man for calling stuff. I wish I had a T-shirt shop right now that I could just say available now at Geek Out T-shirts. I'm the man for calling stuff. That's a wonderful T-shirt. Oh, make it happen, somebody. I'm the man for calling stuff. I need to get a graphics designer on staff in the Gulliverse. So yeah, the action stuff, I agree with you, Justin, was just really, really good. This was honestly, and I think I told Haley this, that this is to me, this is the best of the season finales we've had of these TV shows.
Probably.
I thought that Loki, that season finale, was way too much talking. It was almost like when Neo gets to the architect in the Matrix 2. You know, it's like, what? So we're just sitting here talking now. That's how this is going. And I mean, I like the implications of it and everything, but man, it was like 30 minutes of exposition, you know, and it's just like, and then the end, you know. the WandaVision season finale was good and it was action packed, but at the same time, it was just kind of like that journey was so good that there was no way to kind of cap that off in a super satisfactory way. That the mystery of everything like that, what a perfect way that was to just kind of bring the MCU to the television screen. And then the Winter Soldier Falcon deal, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Captain America Winter Soldier, I wanted to like that show a lot more than I did. And I wanted to be excited when Sam showed up in the Cap outfit with the red, white, and blue wings and the shield and everything. But I just felt like they rushed it. Like it almost felt rushed and forced. Like they spent so much time doing all this other stuff and like, oh yeah, we've got to get to this point. All right, here we are. And so to me, that kind of, but this, I felt like everything except, in the Gamora thing aside, like I understand that for whatever reason, we didn't get that episode, so putting that aside, I don't feel like there was anything that was crammed in, shoved in, twisted in to just, I felt like everything felt deserved and earned, now had Gamora come on the scene and been like, I'll save the day, like I escaped somehow, I won the day somehow, I think it would have been different. Like, well, how does she earn that right? But the fact that they were all working together, the fact that it was kind of like Beefy Peggy was kind of the lead dog and everything was kind of, to me, I agree with you. The action to me is what made this just the perfect kind of season finale for this and the best of what we've seen on TV so far as the MCU stuff goes. So yeah, really enjoyed it and really enjoyed doing this, guys, talking about these things.
For sure.
It's been a fun time. So Lucas, thank you for getting this idea together, man. This is all Lucas, y'all, because I'd sworn off doing reaction shows after Rebels, after we did the Rebel Yell for so long. I was like, oh, I just don't know that I have any enemy to talk about this stuff anymore. Because I personally find it hard to react to TV shows beyond like, yeah, that was cool, man. That was good.
Right.
So
there's just so much depth with this. So that was good.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think that it's just because what it does is it opens the door like you did a while ago, Lucas. What if Peggy had seen Cap as a zombie? There are 1,000 roads to walk down. Like if we wanted to just sit down and be like, all right, guys, tonight we're just going to explore every what if question we can from the what ifs, this episode of What If. You're talking about 3 or 4 hours worth of just kind of discussing and talking and digging into stuff.
Sure.
So
that's the multiverse.
Well,
and that's what ifs.
Yeah, that's what ifs for sure. Well, guys, the anything to plug? I know Justin last week plugged the Marvel Encyclopedia. We definitely want to plug Adam's stuff. Go to adambray.com and reach out to Adam on social media. He's on the social media at author Adam Bray, and get your books by him directly from him, signed by him, and you'll it's just you're not necessarily going to end up paying more than what you pay for Amazon. You'll pay a little bit for shipping, but you're helping Adam out directly. This is not, this is more than him getting a little bit of kickback from an Amazon link. So help our brother Adam out. Go to adambray.com, reach out to him on social media at author Adam Bray. If you have any freelance work you want him to do, get in touch with him and put him to work for you. The Chewy's Cantina over on Facebook. Get there by going to geekoutonline.com/cantina. Lucas, you have lunch with Chewy on Friday.
Yeah, on Friday we're bringing back lunch with Chewy, 12 o'clock Eastern time. We got a bunch of cool previews that are in the cantina right now. We're also, as we're doing it, we're going to talk Star Wars Visions a little bit as we work through it. So it'll be a little fun. And then next week we're bringing back our cantina sale. We're using Zoom software. And we have several guys in the group that'll have some different collectibles they'll be having up. So there's something you're on the lookout for, you're hunting for, a missing piece to your collection, you could find it in the cantina. And then last thing, end of the month, we're bringing back our Chewy's Spooktacular night.
Ooh, yeah.
It's a Zoom party. Also going to have collectibles available, but you're encouraged to come in costume. One of our main admins, the Candyman, came dressed as Harley Quinn last year, and it was very interesting.
Still haunts my dreams. Haunts my dreams. Yeah.
So, but it's a lot of fun. The canteen. If you haven't joined yet, jump over on that group and Facebook, answer a couple of questions, agree to follow the rules, and you'll be in, and you'll get all kinds of bargains and fun. So
let me throw a few things that are going to be out there on Friday for those of you that want to be a part of that. Join the Cantina, geekoutonline.com/cantina. Friday at noon, we've got the vintage collection Clone Wars Darth Maul with the robot legs from Mandalore. We've got a vintage Snoopy lunchbox complete with a thermos that looks amazing.
Yeah, it's in good shape.
Is that from our buddy down the road, Lucas?
Yeah, it's our buddy down the road. It's just got a little bit of rust on the back. That's the only little boo-boo.
It's a really good looking old school lunchbox. So you got a 30th anniversary prototype Boba Fett. That's the white armored Boba Fett. Yeah. On the 30th anniversary card. That's with the coin and everything from that particular line of Star Wars figures. I know all of you remember that one. I'm scrolling here real quick to see a couple of other things because it's worth kind of pointing out what you've got coming up with some of these previews and everything. A vintage collection Lando out of the newest wave of
the Bespin Lando,
figures. The Bespin Lando. Is that a Power of the Force speeder bike that's up for sale there?
Yeah, Lucas? Power of the Force speeder bike. It's in the box, still sealed in the box. Also got a 30th anniversary TIE Fighter, the white version.
Okay, is that what that one is? I was just about to bring that up. Wow.
Yeah, it's loose. Don't have the pilot, but it's in great shape. Looks really good.
It does look really good. Was that out of your collection?
No, that's also from our buddy.
And it's a 30th anniversary, huh?
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I did some searching on a couple of sites today to try to pinpoint where it's come from.
That's probably one of the newer things that he has up there.
Yeah, it is.
Vintage collection Emperor from this latest wave of vintage collection figures as well. Yep. So it's going to be a good time. Go check it out. geekoutonline.com/cantina. And also the other thing you can do as you join the Cantina is scroll through and you can see, that Rambo lunchbox is up for sale, complete with thermos.
Yeah.
Vintage collection Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett. Yeah. But you can also scroll through and see all these finds that people make and get and just really be jealous of everyone's collection. Good night. Like Shane Skinner, I just want to strangle sometimes.
And he is getting boatloads of vintage left and right.
Yeah, it's really
good though. He's a good guy.
It's irritating me to no end.
Shane, we love you. If you're hearing this, we love you.
I don't, Shane. You make me sick.
He's probably eating tacos, right? Wait, no, it's Thursday.
You disgust me, Shane. Rodney Wyndham came through with a Captain Power pickup, which
I know he's
really
finding all kinds of good stuff on the weekends.
Yeah, some good stuff. So anyhow, like us on Facebook. You can go join the Facebook group for the Guardians of the Goldiverse at geekoutonline.com/group. And if you're in a position to support the channel, you can do so at patreon.com/geekoutloud. We appreciate everyone who supports us there at patreon.com. If you're watching this on the YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. We just did our live 300 subscriber celebration where basically I just sat and said, hey, here's some comic books I've picked up lately. So it couldn't be more boring, but maybe you'll enjoy looking at some old comic book covers and everything. I've got some interesting, my eye on some interesting pickups, hopefully, in the next few days, depending on what happens with an auction here or there. And I'll be sure to let you guys know about it as we try to do this $20 comic book collection. My goal is to get the whole run of Marvel 2-in-1 starring The Thing, and that's annuals and all. And there's some interesting things that go down in that series. That seems like a nothing happening series, but there's some really interesting stuff, complete with the aforementioned Thanos. Some stuff goes on with him in that series. So having said all that, guys, anything else before we go from anybody?
All right. Don't be a party pooper.
Don't be a party pooper. That's right. Viva Las Vegas, everyone. We'll see you around the Goldiverse. Have a good one, everybody.